Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my H channel. I am looking at 4 bottles of perfume in front of me, and one's a mini bottle. So I'm hoping that I'll get through talking perfume a little bit quicker, which lends some time. I wanted to talk very briefly, because I had grand visions this week of actually pulling out a book I read a couple years ago. It's called Nosedive by, I did look this part of it up just now, Catherine Haley Epstein. And of course, it's a perfume book, and it had to do with the confluence of art and humanity and perfume. And I honestly don't remember if my thoughts on the subject were my own that were sparked because I read the book, or if these were in her book. But I wanted to touch on something. So, what I remember about, it doesn't matter what I remember, but the gist of it is, we all of us in this community, if you're watching this, God help you, we love our perfume. And a lot of us consider it art. There's a beauty in it. It touches something deep within us, in our humanity, that's deeper than, it talks about getting to our limbic system, where we can process these things without even talking, or without even registering what they are, right? It touches our lizard brains. And we don't know how to talk about it, because I know, I'm watching back these videos that I've been making the last month or so. I can't talk about perfume to save my life. Like, absolutely not. I don't have the language, and that language and humanity, the language defines humanity, or did we, it's like it enables us to have a higher experience in this world, to be able to, like, it's where our big thoughts come from in the world, ideas with capital letters attached to them, beauty, justice, etc., etc. But for perfume, and for smells in general, there's no, like, even if we do have a common language, right, I can throw out stuff like citric and citrus and balsamic. Even if for those out there who really are good at, describing what they're smelling, to me, even though I know technically what those smell like, I have no idea. I've come to this conclusion. I don't know what anything smells like when I hear other people describing it, even if they're the best in the world, and even if I understand the base common language of what they're saying. And I remember 2 years ago, because it was early on in my whole journey, that, if I just had more, more of the language, and like, I can get really deep into this whole hobby of mine, and I'd really be able to get my hands on it. I don't think it's just a lacking in myself. Well, it could be, it probably is. But I think there's something deeper in this whole discussion and thought of humanity and art and perfume and how it evolves. I don't think I have. At one point, I thought I had a good grasp on how things blossom into, having the language to talk about the art, which elevates it higher, which gets to your core of humanity much deeper. I think the core of humanity, and the core of, animals in general, because we all have this sense of smell and this, this base, like I said, lizard brain, and I think, I'm not sure we're able to tap into it at a higher level. I think maybe the higher level is at our base. I think this is going into like a spiritual realm for me now. I used to think it was just like, things are rational and you can explain it. I'm going to have to cogitate on this a little bit and think through this when I have some time, because I'm busy right now. So let's go on, because I have a meeting to get to here in a very short period of time. But sometimes there's priorities, and perfume is always a priority in life, right? So I had to do this first. So let me go through really quickly what I have worn on the last week. So Coromandel, Chanel. It's been a week of Coromandel. This, I'm going to be really quick about this. This is, I was shocked at how good this was. So I bought this, I want to say like a half a year ago. I feel like it was the turn of the year. Like there's always price hikes with Chanel. And I'm pretty sure it's like, I guess I'm going to have to, well, I don't have to, but I finally decided, okay, I'm going to watch some Chanel. Because for the longest time, I was like, screw this. I'm not buying into this Chanel hype. Screw this. But finally, I'm like, okay, I'll get some. And I blind bought. What a surprise. And Coromandel was one of the ones I blind bought. And when I first got it, it was screechy to me. So, of course, this is patchouli and white chocolate. That's the predominant amber accord that I feel in this one. And when I first got it, it was very much screechy. I'm pretty sure that's what I remember. So I tried it once and threw it in the box and went along my merry way. I was actually, so when Sunday came along, what was that week anyway? I should probably say it was the week of the 20th. No, the week of the 30th. Oh, time is going by. It's already May, people. And I was like, I think I want to go for Le Lion. So I started diving in to my box of, one of my boxes in my closet. And this is the first one I pulled up. I was like, screw it. I'll go for the first one I pick. So I sprayed it. And it was like, okay, so when people talk about blending, all right, sometimes I put my nose up on people who are like, oh, the artisanal people can't do any kind of blending. Sorry for those who say that. You can have your opinions. I don't. Power to you, man. But I kind of get what they mean in this one, because this one felt very much. It was just beautiful. It was smooth to. I mean, it was like smooth ice cream, not like the little bumpies that are good in frozen yogurt. This is like smooth, rich, 57% butterfat kind of smooth. This stuff's good. I was kind of blown away a little bit. And then Monday came around, and I was like, damn, I like this stuff. So I wore it a second time again. And then Tuesday came around, and I was like, damn, I want to wear this again. So I wore this yet again for the third day in a row. That's like, if something's got a hold of me for 3 days straight, it's pretty good. So Tuesday was also the day I flew to the slope. If I could just keep going. I flew out to travel to my work, and I got on a plane full of rough and tech oil necks, and I just made that up. Nobody ever says that. The rough and tough kind of guys, and I'm smelling like Coromandel. I thought it was great. I thought it was great to have a little higher, the higher things in life when you're surrounded by coveralls and diesel. It's great. So I wore that. So, like I said, I traveled for, well, I didn't say it, but I traveled for two nights, I guess. So I was out for 3 days and 2 nights. And so I'm not going to be traveling with perfume when I do that. Big bottles. So I went through my little drawer, my little box, and for whatever reason, this one called my name. And this is, can I do this? Maybe Jean Patou Chaldi. So this one I think is from the 90s. So I've got a fairly. Yeah, this is like vintage. I mean, okay, it's literally probably 30 years old, because I think this what was it called? Ma something perfume. Ma collection. I don't know why they call it Ma, but a bunch of the old stuff from the 20s and maybe 30s from the Jean Patou line were brought out in the early 90s. I want to say like 90. So yeah, this is more than 30 years old at this point, and it definitely it's definitely got the vintage old smell to it. I think when I looked it up, it was very much like it. Like, I don't even know what it is, honestly. It feels like it's got that whole. I don't know what the note is that gives. There's certain perfumes out there that just have this something that says, yes, I am old. I'm sure it's about chemicals that have been disallowed, or maybe it's just the fact that they're that old and they macerate for that long, or mature. I always forget maturation versus maceration, which harkens back to this whole Coromandel. It just needed some maceration or maturation, whichever one is the right term. But anyway, this, to me, this felt like whatever florals were in here, I truly have no notes to this. It had like a slight amber base accord to it, and the florals that were in it felt very, very light and airy. Kind of like what I always assume these watery notes like should be in Japanese perfumery. Is there even a thing called Japanese perfumery? Or a thing actually? Like, is it a business there? Or do you think Comme des Garçons? But, I'm sure they're, like, completely, like, dominated by French perfumers and the ilk. But, this is a great video this week. I'm sorry, guys, if you lasted this long. But, yeah, anyway, so this feels very much like, it's like a white, light, watery, old school perfume, ambery perfume. It's very interesting. So I wore this 2 days in a row because this is all I brought with me when I went up and out in the field. So that was, I guess, Wednesday and Thursday. I flew back home Thursday. Next day, Friday, was Encens Mythique by Guerlain. I don't know why I'm pulling for this one. So this is the Rose Aldehyde Ambergris perfume. So this is the one that it's Guerlain can be expensive for sure, but it's not like some of the really expensive stuff. And I'm pretty sure there is some ambergris, like real ambergris in this, because I've got several like ambergris perfumes out there that it has that like legitimate sea funk to it. And I say sea funk, I'm not one of these people who think ambergris is particularly animalic or musky. It just imparts some kind of, I wish I could, it's, yeah, listening to the first part of me, in some ways, even if I had the words to describe this, it wouldn't do it justice. It's because the rose and the aldehydes, it's so, it's dancing on top of the waves, but the ambergris in it, it does give it a grounding, but not in the way that castoreum or some of the real animalics, because again, I don't think of ambergris as an animalic, but it gives it it almost like, it's like, people describe perfumes and scents in terms of color. Sometimes I've noticed about myself when I've been trying to describe perfumes, I get like a emotion, like when I want to describe a perfume, I want to go into like, it's like this. Like, or it's this. It's there's motion involved in perfume, for me in my head. That's my association. So for me, like the motion that comes from Encens Mythique in that ambergris base is like, it does this. It's not just tap tap tap. It's almost like it's something growing out from the sea, and it's like bubbling and like a cauldron. Maybe it's a cauldron from like a witch's cauldron, and it has nothing to do with sea. You just think of sea because it's from the friggin' ocean, literally. But I don't know. This is something pretty cool. I do reach for this a fair bit. Last one today. What did I wear today? Well, it's what I tried to go for on Sunday, the first day of the week. I was going after Le Lion, and it was still on my brain, so I had to pull this. This, of course, is the Lab de Nuit Balm. that some people, most people absolutely love this stuff. And this morning I wasn't completely awake and I was not in a place that had any kind of light. And I ended up spraying myself like 6 or 7 times. And for those of you who know Le Leon, generally not a perfume that you kind of want to do that because it's really strong. But I kept thinking I was missing because the nozzle was not quite pointed in the direction that I wanted to towards my hand. And yeah, but really it was getting on me and I didn't realize that. So as I'm walking into the building, I'm like, whoa. Yeah, I can see why some people don't like it. They're probably just overspraying because this stuff is powerful. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I do get the whole like this smells like Shalimar. I get that. Shalimar and what's the other one? They always say this smells like Shalimar and a combination of something else. I forget what the something else is, but I see the yeah, I see that whole connection there. But anyway, I smell delicious, darling, with my Leon that I finally have arrived. My name is Lion, so I do have a fair affinity towards the lions of the world. So anyway, I'm going to be done because I need to go. This was fun. I do need to think about this whole bigger picture, art, humanity, language. What is actual, like, I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you. Have a great day, guys. Go forth and prosper.